A very warm good afternoon. So, welcome back to the third session of Communication Skills, English and Communication Skills paper, BEGAE-182. So, in the last lectures, we discussed about communication skills and about listening skills and speaking skills in the informal context. So, today we are going to start the listening and speaking skills in the formal context, especially focusing on group discussion and meetings. So let's start with the discussion. So it is about Unit 3 and Unit 4 of your Block 2. So there the discussion of group discussions and meetings is there. So first of all, there are some objectives of the discussion. So in the unit, the first we are going to take up group discussions and cover the following topics. So first of all means how planning what to say and how to say in a group discussion, maintaining rules, group communication skills, group processing and assessment under the group discussion heading. Then we will take up meetings and where we will discuss agenda of a meeting and preparing for a meeting. So yesterday, the last lecture, we were discussing about entirely the informal context. That is also important. That is like a supportive material, like a complementary. Here now today we are going to focus on the technical aspects, complete technical process of group discussions and meetings. And now today we are discussing from your professional perspective, like we are going to do meetings or group discussions in a business organization or the work of your entrepreneurship or the place of work, etc. So group discussions first of all. So group discussions at interviews and group discussions in general. So these days, so there are some functional differences. Two things are there. First of all, one thing is group discussion. As the name suggests, group discussion. So there is a discussion that is not between two persons. There are more than two persons. So that's why it consists, or it's going to make some members who are going to make a group. So in the group there is a discussion. So we see that the group discussion can be again it can be a part of the meeting and or it form a part of the interview process. So although the group discussions in general and group discussions in interview, they have some similar structure, but they have some functional differences. The structure is the same, but the function is different. And what are the functional differences? So like in a classroom or in an organization, the purpose of group discussion is to generate thinking. Like in the classroom, we are holding group discussion sessions. So what is the purpose? In order to provoke the students or the participants to generate thinking, they should start thinking in a particular direction. And enhance group communication skills, facilitate a successful exchange of ideas and derive a conclusion. And it may not be very formal. Reason is that it may not be very formal because the members as well as the observers are known to each other. So this is a very important point. Where the members and observer, they are known to each other, the functioning is different. Wherever you go somewhere and to appear an interview, then the observers are stranger for you and even the participants are new for you. So we are going to discuss later on like so GDs. So in short we call them GDs, group discussion GD. G for group, T for discussion, group GDs. So GDs or group discussions can also be part of the competitive examinations these days. And even you see that even in the civil services of UPSC or any state public service commission, MBA admissions, armed forces and private sector examinations, everywhere you find that group discussions are conducted. And the group discussions are conducted to observe a candidate's suitability for the course or the job. Just through the group discussion, the observers, they are able to assess you whether you are suitable for the course or for the job. Earlier times were different when there was simple personal face-to-face interview. Yes, these days the face-to-face interview is also done, but even for more keen observation, the group discussion is given more priority. So you can say the group discussion in the interview and group discussion in examination, so they are referred as group discussions. Hereafter we will refer them as group discussions in the interviews. So group discussions, GDs in the interviews and GDs in the examinations. Now here as we were discussing that what are the functional differences? Although the structural similarity is there, but there is some functional differences. What are the functional differences? First of all, that group discussion in an organization or in the classroom. So in the classroom means when we are students here in the college or at school level or at the university level. So group discussions are organized in the classroom, and the members are students of the same class. On the other hand, the group discussions in the interviews. So simple. So in the group discussion case of organization or the classroom where the members are known to each other, like in the classroom, the members are students, the observer is the class teacher, or in an organization, the members are the employees, co-workers, and the observer is their senior, boss, or any HR manager. So the situation is different. But on the other hand, if you go for UPSC, a civil services interview, for armed forces interview, in the MBA cases, then you are going to be selected. There the purpose is different. There you want a job, you want to be selected for a certain position. So the main purpose is to generate thinking on a particular topic. So in case of organization or in case of a classroom, what is the purpose of group discussion? The purpose is to generate thinking, a kind of a mental orientation on a particular topic. And in case of interview, the GD is, the purpose is to see who communicates well in a group. So there is a group, there are so many members. So there is one observer, and the observer is a silent observer and a keen observer. He is observing each and every person's participation, and what is his role, what is his duty. So his duty is to assess who is communicating well and who has certain other qualities of expression, patience, silence, tolerance, ability to explain, ability to tackle the problem. Second point is this, that group discussion or GD in the organization or in the classroom. So the role of observer may be maintained by a member within the group, like the instructor also observes group interaction and feedback. But here the interviews maintain the role of observer. So simple, as we discussed, the teacher is observer, but here case the professionals are observer who are going to select you or reject you based on the basis of your performance. Then again in the organization, the roles of a team, recorder, encourage, or reflector are decided in advance. But here, then in case of interview, sometimes the manager, the captain of the team is appointed at the same time that when you're going to start the group discussion. So it is like a spontaneous flow of your information, spontaneous outflow of your knowledge. The topics depend upon the organization's interest related to the group's work and responsibilities. On the other hand, in case of interview, the group is discussing on that topic. The topic is expected to be, the persons are expected to be aware of it. For example, a topic related to current affairs, because people are coming from different backgrounds and from different areas. Someone is coming from social sciences, other is coming from sciences, commerce. So general topic or of current affairs. And here, in case of the group discussion GD in the organization or the classrooms, the members, they know each other fairly well and there is no introduction required. But on the other hand, there in case of group discussion, in case of interview, then the members, they are strangers and they have to introduce themselves, and they are speaking about their profession, their background, and their aspirations that they want to achieve. So these were some structural similarities but functional differences, right? Now, what are the essentials of group discussion or effective group discussion or ideal group discussion? So you can say, so in these days and recent times, so GDs or group discussions, they have emerged as important and potent tool for testing the candidates for recruitment. And why? Because through this technique, the candidates are analyzed almost from their all behavioral competencies and from their all aspects and of their dimensions of their mind process. So you can say that awareness of this technique and how it is working and how to participate in GD, so it becomes essential if you want to be a successful person, successful performer. So my dear students, now yesterday it was also a practical session of your informal listening and speaking. So today we have started something about the practical session of the group discussion, although it is not possible right now that we are going to engage the session, but here we can discuss and you can also note down the main points. So essentials of group discussion. So there are certain conditions, and the conditions that must be met for a group discussion to be successful. So the members and the situation and the purpose, all these things, when they come together, then they make it a successful group discussion. So some of the conditions, like they are dictated by the nature of the task, and there are some general points. And the general points we must remember in order to be a successful participant. So here we are going to be participants, and in order to become successful participant, so there are some points. So first point is, there is only one topic for discussion. This is important or key point, that for discussion there is only one topic. If there are more than one topic or two topics, 3, 4, 5, then there are distractions and deviations. So all the members must express their views only on this topic under the discussion. So the discussion should be around the topic decided. So members must take turns to talk. They must listen to one another, talk to one another, and respond to one another. This is a very important thing. He says group discussion. So they must take their turn to talk, must listen to another, talk to another, and respond to another. There should be no interruptions, because these days you can see on television, news channels, people are having kind of discussion. They say that is group discussion, or there are the panel discussions. The members are there from different religious, political, social backgrounds, and sometimes we find that even we are unable to understand what they are saying, because everybody is speaking simultaneously. If there are 5 members or 7 members all are speaking, then how we can understand, how we can listen? How means at that time we are listeners. So, but here it should be kept in mind, and later on we will discuss in detail. Interruptions should not be there, equality should be there, honesty should be there. So those will be the further ideal points for group discussion. So these are just basic concepts. Then they must put forward more than one point of view on the topic. Yes, topic should be one, and the topic is one, but there may be more than point of views or perspectives that we call. I may have my own perspective on the topic. You may have one more perspective on the topic. So point of views may be different, perspectives may be different, approaches may be different, and the solutions may be different suggested, but the topic or the problem should be only one. So now you can say, so these were the prerequisites, and in order to start group discussion, now members of the group must follow certain rules. So here, even in your study material, he has given us some list of rules that these points should be there before going for group discussion. So first thing is equality, freedom to express, and respect for participating members, reasonableness, orderliness, and truthfulness. Why I am giving the live example of your TV channels, news channels? Because we see that is practical session group discussion. Now you can observe yourself today when you are going to watch this TV, any TV channel, and you see that how many of the members have equality, how many of the members have freedom to express, respect for participating members, reasonableness, orderliness, and truthfulness. So these are the ideal situations. I'm not speaking against anyone, because just we have to understand, we have to observe, because when we are listening to them, then we are playing the role of a listener. So when we are participating in the group discussion, then we are having the role of a speaker. So if we don't like this kind of deviated and distracted group discussion, when we are listeners, then nobody will like our distracted and deviated group discussion when we will have the role of the speakers. Coming back, so the participants should be treated as equals, equality, and must have regard for the opinions of each other. That is, respect for others. We are human beings, we are having different opinions, we have different perspectives due to different reasons, and we should have respect for others, and even not personally others, for their views. And the participants are free to offer their opinions without fear or anxiety, pressure, embarrassment, or any kind of oppression. They should be free. They should not, must not have any kind of fear or any kind of pressure in ideal situation. Then reasonableness, orderliness, and truthfulness. So reasonableness, that the participants must come to the group discussion together with open mind, reasonable, and they are not to be dogmatic or have predetermined opinions or preconceived notions. Because if you have something, means I am coming to the group discussion, or you have come to the group discussion and you have something preconceived notions, and you are not ready to even listen to the scientific analysis, then that is not going to be changed. Because we are human beings, we require information, we require knowledge, and this kind of information and knowledge should be open for all, and knowledge is always evolving. So that's why he says that there should be no preconceived notions, predetermined opinions, one should not be dogmatic, and all must be willing to listen to reason and to accommodate others' views on the subjects. So others' views. So this is called tolerance. And here, because we want to be good speakers, we want to be good listeners, we want to be the members of group discussions, and it is going to be practically helpful for us in our professional life, in our academic life, because this is again a technical session. So if we observe these things, if we assimilate these things and these qualities, obviously these are going to be helpful. And must listen to others and not shout down opinions they do not like. Yes, very important thing. Okay, shouting down opinion, shouting down opinion. Okay, you say that my opinion is better than you and your opinion is worse than me. So there should be no shouting down. And the participants must speak what they believe to be true. They must not remain silent or vague in their views. Vague means unclear. So truthfulness means truthfulness, again, truth is also perspective. Sometimes what do you think is truthfulness may not be truthfulness for others. So honesty. So when you are having no sense of cheating, no sense of deception in your mind, and you are speaking with truthfulness, right? So these are the standard or golden rules we should follow, right? This is the ideal situation. In a practical situation, we should try to apply them in a maximum possible manner. So anything that violates the spirit of free and open discussion or joint inquiry, so that breaches the spirit of GD, or that means spoils or breaks the spirit of GD, and that is against the spirit of GD. So what kind of interruptions are there? He says breaches. Breach means to break something, to violate something, to breach the spirit of GDs. So he has given us some 5 points, and in these 5 points, when you are doing these activities, you are going to violate the spirit of GD. First is interrupting the speaker or not allowing the speaker to complete his or her contribution. When one speaker is speaking and you just interrupt him or her, you don't allow him to proceed on, then that is also a kind of interruption. Shouting down people whose views one does not like. Sorry. Shouting down. So you are speaking loudly and with just your high tone and high voice, you try to make them silent. So refusing to listen to reason or evidence. If the other person is saying, oh, you see, this is the evidence based on data or statistics, this is the profit and this is the loss, so this is positive, this is negative, but we refuse to listen and we say, no, I don't believe in your evidence, I don't believe in your data. And dogmatic in one's own opinion, even in the face of evidence to the contrary. You say, okay, no, I remain adamant. Even if I have done something wrong, if there is a kind of embezzlement of funds in a business house, the other person has brought before you, these are the even entries or the transactions, but even then you remain adamant, no, what the evidences you are producing, that is wrong. So that is not, it means the whole exercise or the topic of the group discussion becomes futile. It breaches the spirit. So agreeing to a point without believing in it or under stress or threat. So it means there should be no stress, no threat. So then the question arises. It means whether we should become silent or mute spectators. The other person keeps on speaking and we keep on listening. No, this does not mean that you cannot interrupt someone. You can do so at the appropriate moment and without causing offense. So it means when our time will come, when our turn will come, then we should interrupt and we should say our own words or our own views. And so you can see the group discussion can take up on any topic. So provided the topic poses a question and requires a joint inquiry. Last point. So the discussion question invites joint inquiry and the debate is encouraged. So hence a discussion question has to be interrogative question or not word or phrase. So it must not be framed as yes or no. So that is called debate question or the discussion question. So it means like there are the agendas in the meeting, similarly the question in a group discussion. And you would see that even the group discussions are also becoming a part of the meeting. So when you are attending a meeting, even in the meeting, the group discussion is also there. So group discussion becomes part of meeting. Right? Now, next point say means what to say and how to say it. So these were the ideal rules, standard golden rules. Now practically what to say and how to say means at least when in English communication skills we must have some pre-practiced phrases and sentences in our mind so that when we are going to start group discussion we can follow those points. First thing is you can begin by saying, so now we are going to start group discussion. I'm going to start group discussion or you are going to start group discussion. So you are the person who is going to speak for first time. So these are some phrases or sentences or expressions given here. Like you can say to begin with, I would say, then there are dots. So then the question, I would say means about the weather in general or about your financial position. The first thing that comes to my mind when I think of, so these are some, because the paper is of BEGAE-182 English communication skills. So that's why 7 sentences or 7 phrases are given, because sometimes in a group discussion we find it difficult or the words are not coming to our mind, the phrases are not coming to our mind. So in order to practice that, now here I'm in a group discussion and I have to begin the group discussion, I have to start the group discussion. So what kind of sentences, what kind of phrases should I use? So he says, to begin with, I would say, first example. Second, the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of dot, 3 dots are there, means again, you can club your ideas. We may think it is the government's responsibility to deal with corruption that, so if the topic is of corruption, then again, let us first look at the facts known to us. For example, so according to the nature of the organization or according to the purpose of the group discussion, whether you are sitting there for any solution for the financial embezzlement or the political reason or the social reason, any reason is there that discussion is going on. But because when we are students, as we discussed earlier, it is going to be helpful in all spheres, academic, non-academic, personal, professional, everywhere, even in the family, even the society groups, and even at social level, political level, community level. But here we are more focusing on the that is of in the interviews or of your functional application of group discussion, especially for students, because students have to appear in the interviews, for especially job interviews. Even the teachers are there, like me or other teachers in the colleges and universities, even they are also appearing in the interviews for their promotions, in the caste promotions, or the profession, or going somewhere else, going to other universities for new selections and higher positions. So meetings, group discussions, interviews, they are integral part of your professional life. You can't say that now I have given my one interview and I have been selected, that is over. No, that is only a beginning. So that's why it is beneficial for all of us. Now you can see even in the starting of the greetings, a very good morning to all of you. I strongly support. One more example. And then in the quotes, as my friend has just said, spoken persuasively about, I feel, or you will all agree with me that. So these are some examples, and I wish and I recommend that you should memorize these sentences, because this is the rule of communication skills, that vocabulary should be memorized, and sometimes phrases, expressions, and sentences should also be memorized. I'm not saying cramming should be there. No, it's about sometimes you have the ideas, but you fall short of words, or you fall short of phrases, expressions, and sentences. So that is the rule of English language learning, that try to learn new and newer words, more and more words. That is called learning of vocabulary, and also phrases, expressions, sentences, especially in a professional situation where you can't lose in the wrong you can't speak in the loose manner, or you can't lose the control over the professional and ethical code of conduct regarding speaking skills. So you can begin in a way that suits your own style of speaking. Every person has his or her own style of speaking. So here you can say, try to include others in your conversation. You can also say we, us instead of I and me. You can say all of us think about it. I think it is our collective. It means other persons who are sitting there, they should feel that they are part of the this ongoing speech, or ongoing group discussion, or ongoing topic. That is called the sense of belongingness, or not the sense of alienation. So these were some points that group discussion, how to do group discussion. And now there is a practical session. Practical session is not possible right now, because if this counseling session would have been in the not on the online mode, but in the offline in the classroom, then we could have 10 or 15 minutes for group discussion. But these are the just rules, and because you can say that due to time constraints, I can't say more on group discussion. We have to cover up the other topics also. So these are just points or the principles of group discussion, because again, always I say that communication skills are the practical skills, they are life skills. Just sitting here or speaking, or you are sitting there listening, but you don't practice, then communication skills are, or they can't be developed, right? So if you want to develop them, you want to improve them, you have to use them and utilize them. Now, one more point is, as we were discussing, group discussion and meeting. Meetings are there, and sometimes group discussion, they become part of the meeting. So simple word meet means that we are coming together, and one person is there, other person is there, third person is there, and all are coming together. They sit there and sit there at the table, and then they start a discussion, and meeting is there. They meet, and if it is official meet for official purpose, you can say that one's own views in the meetings can be expressed in the open discussion or in the group discussion. So a group discussion may form a part of the whole course of action in a meeting based on the agenda. So my dear students, it is very similar, that one new point is coming, agenda. Earlier we were saying that is topic of the discussion. So the agenda of the meeting is written. Agenda of the meeting is pre-decided. So that agenda of the meeting, when discussed practically in the group of the members, then it becomes group discussion. So the agenda of the meeting and the topic of group discussions, sometimes they are interconnected. They come together and they get connected. So agenda of the meeting. But the difference is this: the agenda of the meeting is always pre-decided, pre-arranged, and in the written form. So as per the set rules, the agenda is always given in the written form. Why? Because an agenda is also circulated to the members of the meeting before coming to the meeting. This is a very important thing, because even sometimes you find that the meetings are postponed, that the members object that we were not given, we were not delivered with the agenda in due time, so we were not aware. So agenda means, let's see what is mentioned, agenda of a meeting. So group discussion, now we have coming from group discussion to meeting. The agenda. So the agenda is the most important component of any meeting. Most important component. Not important, most important component of any meeting, agenda. So it gives the necessary details about the meeting. All details. Not only the problem, all details. The time, very important. For example, you don't know what is the time. If you say tomorrow meeting will be there, what time? 9 a.m. or 4 p.m. Yes. So you go there for meeting and they say no, meeting will be there at 4 p.m. So first thing, the time, the place of the meeting, date, time, place, and names of the people who will attend it, the time when the meeting starts and ends, all things, and the issues to be discussed in the meeting. Generally, we forget these minor but very important points. That is of date, place, time, members, and that is the issues to be discussed in the meeting. Any preparation the attendees have to make for. Attendees means the prospective attendees, the prospective members of the meeting who are going, and they say any prior preparation. Sometimes they say you are going to attend this meeting and this is the agenda, this is the problem, and these are some evidences given to you, these are some notes or the study materials provided, you should go through it. So that is called pre-preparation for the prospective attendees. And like such as contacting people, studying the given information, analyzing the statistical data given, etc. So meetings cannot be effective in fulfilling their objectives if the agenda is too large. Sometimes this happens in meetings. I have personally seen that the agenda is too large. Those are called agenda items, and the time is only of 2 hours, and there are 40 items of agenda, 50 items of agenda, because in meeting, because when if you have personally attended meetings, you can say in meeting each and every item is to be brought before the members of the committee, and they discuss the item, then either they pass the item or they reject the item, and sometimes if there is no consensus, then there is voting. This is a very important thing. Voting is also a prevalent way of expression. Sometimes all persons don't have consensus on one point. So that's why they say, yes, we have to clear this agenda item. So there are two ways. Either there should be consensus and all persons do agree. They say, okay, fine. Either in case of selection or a rejection, both cases. They want to select it, means they want to pass it. Okay, all do agree. Or all persons they do disagree in order to reject. Sometimes there is a variation in the consensus. Some people are against, some people are in the favor of the item. So then that is voting. Voting is a very important thing, and voting is the basis of your democracy. And voting is sometimes secret voting. The other persons, they don't know that what is there in your mind, or sometimes open voting, or sometimes just by raising your hands, it is also kind of voting. Okay, so meetings cannot be effective in fulfilling if the agenda is too large. A hidden agenda also makes a meetings a waste of time. Hidden agenda means that I'm going for an interview and the agenda item was not there. At the same time, it is brought, and then it shows the malified intention. Again, it's a waste of time. And why? What happens when the uncirculated agenda items are brought in the meeting? Then you find that there are personality clashes, private conflicts, and discussing issues. Then that is coming out of the uncirculated agenda meetings. So again, then what happens? Then there is the chairperson. It lies only in the chairperson's hands to handle such situations. So, my dear students, don't get confused. We are discussing about listening and speaking skills in group discussions and meetings. I am not talking about how to hold a meeting session. So that's why if we discuss about that topic, how to start meeting, how to hold a meeting, how many members are there, responsibility of chairperson, that is another topic. That is another topic for in the communication skills, especially for Bcom students. So, but here we are discussing only on the speaking skills. But that is also important topic. So I'm just giving hints about those elements. So the agenda must consider the usefulness of the meeting, because in the meeting the resources are used. Your time, money, energy, everything is used, and it should be utilized, and there should be no futile exercise. Futile means wasteful, of no use. And so it should be formulated with an aim, giving depth to decisions and preventing mistakes, and evolving diverse thinking and encouraging the attendees in decision making. Yes, this is a very important thing, because the purpose of communication skills is to reach at the decision. What are communication skills if we are unable to reach that at the decision? If the decision is not formulated out of the discussion, out of the meeting, so the purpose is, so these are again, the communication skills are the tools, and the solution of the problem is our objective, and objective is to be achieved with the help of tools. So tools remain useless or irrelevant when the purpose is not achieved. So the agenda is usually presented by the secretary or to the chairperson of the group or the committee members, and approved by the chairperson. So these are the technicalities. There is one person who is chairperson. Earlier we used to use word chairman. But now this is gender neutral word. You can say chairperson for he or she, for male and female. Now preparing for a meeting. So how to prepare for the meeting? So remember the following things to be done before you attend a meeting, because in a meeting we are going to speak or we are going to listen. Now again 6 points are given. So carefully read the notice and understand the purpose of the meeting. So first of all, notice is served that tomorrow or on that day the meeting will be held. So what is the purpose and what is the time? So read the notice and understand the purpose of the meeting. Decide what preparation is required. Same points are again repetition. Necessary arrangements at your office, or if you are meeting there, or notify the convener in advance if you have to attend meeting somewhere else. And prepare for materials, prepare answers to the questions, list of points, and list of questions that you want answered, your questions and your answers of the prospective questions to be asked by other members. So this is called homework for meeting, and we should be ready with this in order to become a good participant. What is the purpose of all these activities and preparations? That we remain active participant. We want to do something. We want to show our communication skills. Otherwise, if you go there, neither you speak, nor you listen, neither you ask question, nor you answer the questions, and you remain just a silent listener or mute spectator, then you are not a communicator. So that is the hesitation, and in order to overcome that hesitation, we are doing all these activities. Now, reading. So role of participants and decision making, especially in the companies. And he says etiquettes while attending meetings. Etiquette means good manners. So what are the good manners personally? So first of all, never be late for a meeting. And so out time, punctuality. If the meeting has already begun and you enter late, the chairman has to brief you on the earlier proceedings or to help you participate in the meeting meaningfully. Because then if I am late, I am creating trouble for the chairperson. Because the chairperson has to tell you in brief what has been discussed so far in the last 15 or 20 minutes, so that your participation becomes meaningful. Otherwise, you would not be able to carry along with the on course of meeting or the discussion. So this not only disrupts the meeting, but also is a barrier in the continuity of the discussion. It is disrupting the meeting, also a kind of barrier, like we discussed barriers to the communication. So this barrier is the continuity of the discussion. So I am late, okay fine, one more person is late, third person is late, fourth person is late, fourth person is late. Like out of the 15 members, 5 members are coming late, and you can imagine the situation, what will happen. So arriving late is a sign of disrespect to the chairperson and other members. Generally the chairperson is the senior most member, and we are coming late, so it shows it is a kind of disrespect to the chairperson. And so unless there is a very pressing reason or a relevant reason beyond your control, then we should be punctual for meetings. And so building up a reputation of punctuality it will pay us in long run. So even people know that this person, Mr. So and so, is punctual in the meetings, and it is going to be helpful also, and they will also pay in the long run. Next is of prepare well for the meeting. And before you have to attend the meeting, prepare yourself thoroughly. Again, same point: agenda, acquaint yourself, okay, and opinion. Be a good listener. So yes, it is very important to be a good listener. My dear students, it is a discussion of the speaking and listening skills simultaneously in the practical sessions of group discussion and meetings. So now you just imagine that there is group discussion is going on and you are a member, and how you have to participate in the group discussion of the meeting. So good listener, very important good listener, respond to views of the other participants and to articulate your own opinions. Don't have any preconceptions based on speaker's age. Yes, sometimes the other person is speaking, he may be stranger for us. So based on his age, race, cultural background, appearance, gender, we should not have any preconceptions. The person belongs to that category, the person belongs to that social group of that company, and then these are the preconceived notions, and these preconceptions are deterrents in the good communication flow of knowledge. And also maintain eye contact with the speaker, pay attention to his ideas. Okay, so ask for clarifications if you don't understand something. So next is don't interrupt. Again, same point, there should be no interruption. When the other person is speaking, we should not interrupt him or her. And yes, we may disagree with his or her his views, but the thing is this, that we have to make notes. We should keep on making notes, and then when our turn comes, then we should negate the point, or if you want to agree with the point, with relevant information or statistical data. Follow the agenda. Yes, golden rule again, follow the agenda while speaking, and there is no need to bring up issues which are not listed on the agenda. There should be no distraction, no deviations, and be an active participant. Yes, participant meaningfully in the meeting, active participation in the meeting. So we should speak when a chance is given, right? So active participation doesn't mean the other person is speaking, you interrupt and you say, no, I'm an active participant. No, you should speak when given a chance and have something to contribute to the issue being discussed. Here, when the official meeting is going on, then there is some problem and some difficult situation is there, and we have to contribute positively, and cooperate with the participants and the chairperson to achieve goals of the meeting. And yes, important thing, always keep a pen and paper to note down any important points that you want to quote, and even you think that those are the relevant points. Don't monopolize the meeting. Monopolize means making monopoly, that I'm the chairperson or I'm the senior member and I have the sole right of the meeting, or sole right of speaking in meeting. So do not monopolize the meeting. Speak briefly, coherently as possible, and other members will appreciate for this and listen to you seriously. So don't monopolize. It's not a monopoly of any person. Because if there is a monopoly, for example, if I am owner or you are the owner, then there is, what is the need of a meeting? You should simply give the orders. Then that is not a meeting, that is not a group discussion, that is only the orders. If you want to give the orders, just give the orders. That is only a dictation, direction, orders, not meeting or group discussion. So emotional outbursts will hinder the progress of the meetings, and it is also important language should be courteous, because if the language is not proper, then there may be some problems and it may cause unpleasantness. Next is resolve conflicts. So conflicts, yes, conflicts arise in decision making. So now decisions are to be made and there are some conflicts arising. So we should use some techniques to be facilitator and mediator to resolve the issue. The issue should be resolved, and being accommodative, understanding. So you say Being accommodative and understanding, these are not the signs of weakness, but the signs of strength and maturity. We feel that the person, we say we have to listen to others, and sometimes we have to concede to others, we have to leave our own viewpoint. So that is not weakness, that is actually your strength and maturity to handle that situation. Pay attention to non-verbal communication. We discussed in the first lecture that non-verbal communication is so important in every situation. In the formal situation like meeting, group discussion, it is playing its role, and it is supportive, and it is going to be facilitator. Like you can say, people may be nodding their heads while listening, but their facial expressions otherwise don't indicate agreement or acceptance of a particular opinion. Yes, in the meeting, for example, I am chairperson or you are chairperson, and the chairperson uses his authority. People are saying nodding, like they are saying yes, okay, shows yes, but their facial expressions show disagreement. So again, that is an important thing, because when the one person is speaking, the human being is not a machine. Human being is alive, and whole person is speaking. His body is also speaking. His mouth is speaking. Eyes are speaking. Facial expressions are speaking. Hands movement, body movement, they are speaking. Means or communicating, not speaking, communicating. So, and try to resolve, and some others may be distracted, and some people even in the meetings you find that there are some persons that who try to disrupt the meeting, and you should try to discourage those people and try to engage everybody to participate in the meeting. And last important point, maintain meeting decorum. Decorum means discipline, a situation of respectfulness and coordination, cooperation. And yes, do not use your mobile phone while attending a meeting. You see, a very important point is even mentioned even in your study material, that mobile phone should not be used. Either put your mobile phone on the silent mode or switch off. Order and discipline, so that, and you should pay respect to the chairperson. And finally, regardless of the type of the meeting, information or decision making, two types of meeting, informative or decision making. Informative, sometimes meetings are organized to share information, that kind of information which could not be circulated through the circulars or the notices or the emails, or sometimes you have to make a decision, informative or decision making. So to close the meeting with a restatement of objectives. And finally, each meeting should be viewed as a learning experience, and more future meetings should be improved by making and by asking for one's opinion, and evaluations and actions are required to conduct better meetings. So this is a very important thing, and how to use meeting. And even like we discussed the points where we were saying how to use phrases and how to start the meeting or a group discussion meeting. Again, for your practical needs and practical use, there are some phrases. Phrases means, what is meaning of phrase? Phrase is a set of words that is not a complete sentence, but having sense, but not complete sense. Like we say phrase, word, phrase, clause, sentences. So here phrases, those phrases which we can use in a meeting. So even my dear students, even it is mentioned in your study material. I recommend you should memorize, like phrases for clarification. It means you are not clear about his opinions. How would you ask? You can say, what exactly do you mean by? Could you be more specific about? Question mark. Would you please clarify? Are you saying that? So phrases for clarification, clarification of others' views. Then handling interruptions. Now you are speaking, the other person interrupts you. Now how you can handle? So, sorry, would you please allow me to? So it means you can say means how to handle the interruption. May I finish first before? That is not the point. I am sorry, you have misunderstood. Please allow me to complete the. So this is the situation when you have to handle the interruptions. Then referring to other speakers. So other people, they have spoken about the topic in different ways. If you want to refer, the other person was saying this, or that Mr. Singh is discussing, like as Mr. Singh has already discussed, I'm sure Mrs. Kapoor would agree. Later on, Mr. Hanju can give a report. So I agree to Mr. So and so. So agreement and disagreement. In both cases, you can refer to other persons. And diplomatic phrases. Yes, diplomatic phrases means when the situation arises that you can't say openly some words, you can't say openly your agreement or disagreement. So you have to become diplomatic. So that situation is, I think there may be a problem with that. It means neither you are in the favor of that statement, that point, nor you are against. So you can say, actually, that's not going to be easy. The project is running late. We can't do that. So diplomatic phrases. Diplomatic phrases because that even situations arise. I do not agree with other person's view, but he's my friend or he's my boss, and I can't go against him. So different situations arise. So then you have to become diplomatic. So diplomatic phrases are to be used. And next, phrases for making and responding to suggestions. So making and responding to suggestions. Perhaps you could. That's a good idea. That could be worth buying. What a great idea. I am not sure about that. I can see one or two problems there. So responding to the suggestions. So these are certain examples of phrases that can be used in a meeting. So last, he is giving us up in the meetings about one acronym. Acronym means when we are making one word, taking the first letters of different words. He is giving us 4 words: DESC or desk, DESC, D for describe situation, and so the different stages of meeting means these are the stages of meeting. Desk, easily you can understand or you can keep in mind. Desk, D for describe situation, E for describe situation means agenda. Express feelings, E for express feelings, opinions. E for expression. S for suggesting solutions, and C for concluding with a decision. So desk 4, DESC, 4 stages or different stages of meeting, ideal meeting. Describe situation, express feelings, suggest solutions, conclude with a decision. So it means decisions should be there. And important thing again, coming again and again, that is of your non-verbal. So smile, he says, smile spreads happiness. If you are smiling in the meeting, it is spreading happiness and it makes others smile in response and transmits happiness, friendliness, and warmth. So smile in body, facial expressions, and the voice, the sound. And the voice means nature has given us voice. We are speaking with our vocal cords. So the voice is probably the most valuable tool you to possess. So your voice, your pitch of speaking, your tone of speaking, and modulate your voice. Sometimes we ask, why are you speaking to me like this? It means, why are you talking to me like this? So it means that is also the pitch of the voice, the tone of the voice, and the way you speak, and that is called modulate your voice. He says it should be modulated. Good speakers lower their voice to draw the audience in and raise it to make a point. So warmth of tone and the right emotions to accompany your words can help you to connect with audience instantly. So same point, all these are non-verbal tools, and these non-verbal tools are so important. Even the pitch of your voice, the tone of the voice, use and the level of sometimes voice becomes noise when it is spoken loudly and you are shouting down others. So then it is not acceptable, rather it is unacceptable. So he says, lastly, don't forget the audience will forgive a lot if the speaker is enthusiastic. And if you are interested and enthused, you will pass this on to your listeners. But don't confuse, he says, enthusiasm with loudness. Again, there is a thin line whether you are enthusiastic or you are loud. Enthusiasm is one thing and loudness is another thing. So you can say that these were the important points of group discussion and meetings. And now presentations, and next lecture we're going to do some presentations, presentation skills about in the meetings, in the group discussions of your formal situations. So these are the important points. I think I can have more 5 minutes so that we can conclude it. So tomorrow we can start with one more topic. Yes, okay, just 5 minutes more. So then presentation. So presentation, sometimes in the meetings you have to give the presentations. So presentations these days, like the PPT presentations, are very famous and prevalent. So there are 3 points: beginning, middle, and ending of the presentations. And in the beginning, we have to introduce ourselves, stating our purpose, and giving a brief outline. Again, beginning, because in meetings, always you find the presentations, they are indispensable. In the middle, so do not present more than 4 main points ideas. And using visuals these days were so important and so easy. With the help of technology, you can choose 4 main ideas. And ending, do not present new ideas. At the ending, there should be no introduction of new ideas. Be clear, because in the ending we are just reiterating or reinforcing what we have said or summarizing the main points. And then again we are inviting questions. Yes, then we invite questions. Okay, now I'm going to conclude my lecture. You can have your questions. So, and in order to make our presentation enjoyable and to capture the interest of our audience right from the beginning, and we can ask them rhetorical questions and like interesting story or quotation or a joke. And we should never try to deviate from our topic. And again, one more list is given. How can we conclude? And visual aids. So using visual aids, presentation skills these days, visual aids are there. So visual aids are, my dear students, how many visual aids are there? Like line graphs, bar graphs, pie charts, pictograms, maps, tables, diagrams, photographs, all these could be used. Earlier the time was there when the simple slides were made on the transparent, they were called transparencies, but these days so easy and becomes so effective, it looks so nice. Now there are the PPTs, power presentation slides, moreover there are the projectors. So with the help of all these technical gadgets and devices, we can, and even we should use them, visual aids, and the visual aids are going to be helpful and they are going to make your lecture more having more impact. So last, you can say useful, the signposting the end of your the talk. How we can end our talk? You can say that I would like to summarize. So we have seen today to restate my points, and you can also use another and complete your group discussion, meeting, and presentations. So my dear students, this was a discussion of your block 2. Simultaneously, I am telling that in the first lecture, we discussed our block 1, understanding communication. In yesterday's lecture, there was a discussion of block 2 of the informal contexts. Today, we try to discuss the formal situations with group discussions, meetings, presentation skills, and about listening and speaking. And tomorrow we will start your very important reading and writing skills, where reading is so important. Otherwise we can say, okay, daily I read, or we have been reading since our nursery classes in the schools, colleges, but even then reading skills are also some skills that are to be absorbed, and writing is always, that is evolving, and the more you write, the more you learn and you become a good writer. So in order to become a good communicator, we should develop all 4 good communication skills: listening skills, speaking skills, reading skills, and writing skills, especially in this one language, English language, and also in other languages. if we have time and if we have interest. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining. I hope tomorrow we meet again at 1:30 p.m. for session 4 of English Communication Skills paper BEGAE Code 182. Thank you so much. Bye.